morning, Lionhearts. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion. How are you all doing today? I hope you said well. Today we are doing a special Patreon sunglass vlog for Amber and Edie, and we're doing it right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Now Amy took off on her plane this morning, and I'm actually taking off later, so I'm gonna try and do this vlog and hopefully one other one before I get out of here. But we got to go to Graceland. It was a great time, and today we are where you think we are. Well, not literally, we're not standing where you think we are, but we are where you think we are. So Daze with Jordan the Lion, it begins right now. So we're at the Uptown Square Apartments, and there's a pretty famous apartment here that is available to be stayed in as an Airbnb. However, not at the moment. With what's going on in the world, they're not allowing that to happen, and I was actually booked to stay here a few months ago and it got canceled. So they were nice enough while I was in town to allow me to come back today, and even though I can't stay there, they're gonna let me vlog what's inside here. Just off of what is now BB King Boulevard. They do have a historical sign here. It's not this one, not the cool city and chic like the Burma Shave signs. Nope. There's one right down here on the corner. Tells why we're here today, if you don't already know. Famous photo. Well, a famous photo was taken here, but a famous man also lived here at this apartment in Memphis. So here you can see the sign, Presley family at Lauderdale Courts. Elvis Presley and his parents, Vernon and Gladys, lived at 185 Winchester, apartment 328 from October 1949 to January of 1953, quite a few years. Former residents remember foremost that Elvis liked to sing and play guitar. He practiced in the basement and performed for neighbors on the front steps of this building. Elvis volunteered to sing at teenage dances in the recreation center. Johnny Burnett, founder of Rock and Roll Trio, sometimes refused to let Elvis perform. The Presleys moved in 1953 because of their income exceeded the level allowed for project residents. Bill Black also lived in the Courts, but he did not meet Elvis until they recorded together at Sun Records in 1954. For 3 years, Black and Scotty Moore were Elvis's original band members. Now everything that was once over here is now a freeway, but luckily Elvis's apartment still stands. I believe it's right over here. And I believe that that famous photo of Elvis with the gun was taken right over here. So let's go get access to the apartment and we'll take a photo right over here where, right over here, where Elvis took his famous photo. It looks like to me that they must have redone this sidewalk a little bit because it doesn't have quite the same angle, but that's definitely it. We're on Elvis's street.
That window directly above the door is the kitchen window.
Wow. I love the sign. That's great. I'm glad you guys did that. So as soon as we walk in, there's a photo, or a series of photos of the history of this place, and this is the laundry room, and they were showing me that where we enter now is now where the laundry room was, and Elvis's apartment actually would have been right up these stairs, so Elvis would have taken those stairs. He was helping Mom do laundry. And of course, there's that famous photo that we're gonna match up when we go outside. Then this is another photo. You can see the same background because he's standing a little further up the sidewalk, but that's the same location we'll see as well. And this one as well, when he was in the ROTC. So this is actually the door to Elvis's apartment, but we're actually gonna go right behind us out the doorway to match up that photo. So we're walking right out the steps that Elvis would have used, and then right there, he would have had that shot right here, him in the foreground, and then the one of him with the gun would have been right here. And like I said, you can kind of tell by the sidewalk it's been changed just a little bit by the way it offshoots, but look, they put a blue footprint there to memorialize that photo. How cool is that? There's that shot. All right, now we're gonna go inside and see the apartment. 2-bedroom apartment. And this was the longest place that Elvis lived in Memphis outside of when he lived at Graceland. All right, we're back up here to the front door, 328. Gladys's chair out here. This is not Elvis's actual furniture, but they have recreated the feel of what it would have been like. Look at that, as soon as we come in, we have a photo of the Presley family. And then here we go into the living room. Wow, take a look. Not actually as small as I kind of thought. Actually pretty spacious. They did pretty good for themselves when they moved. Just to think, Elvis would have, there's that photo, Elvis would have been practicing his guitar and singing gospel songs in the house. How cool. There's that window we were looking out, we were looking up at. So here's the kitchen. Of course, you know, these kind of things are, because it's an Airbnb, that you can stay in, like we mentioned earlier. But to think you can actually have your meal in here where Elvis would have eaten his breakfast. Mama would have cooked the breakfast for him. And he would have looked out that window. Remember, they said this was the projects back then. The housing projects. Now we'll go back through the living room. Oh yeah, of course. Religious family. And that, of course, would have been Elvis's room. Look at all the lipstick prints on the walls. There he's got his Johnny Hazard. Very appropriate to definitely what he would have been into. Especially by looking at that photo. With the little cap gun. He actually has, looks like to me, earmuffs. If you look closely at that photo. We're in Elvis's bedroom. So we gotta look out his window, see what he would have been looking at. Oh, you can see up here he's got Marlon Brando, Tony Curtis, yep. And that's out his window. Became the most famous man in the world, never thought he would ever be known by anyone when he was living here. Isn't that cool? And of course, look at all the lipstick prints, that's insane. They do actually have a sign that says you can leave those, they just ask you not to write any messages. So now as we leave Elvis's bedroom, this takes us into shared bathroom. Elvis showers. And then we come out of the bathroom. Kind of got to look at the toilet because, you know, unfortunately that's how he passed away, so. And then that would have been his mom and dad's room. Vernon and Gladys would have slept in here. They have a pretty good view out the window as well. And look at what's on the walls. Perfect. They actually keep this room open during Elvis Week. So if you're in town for Elvis Week, they do tours through here, although nobody really knows right now if that's going to happen. Probably not going to happen this year, but in the future, keep that in mind. Don't sleep on an experience like this. Yeah, if you're an Elvis fan, it's easy to get overwhelmed in Memphis by all the Elvis history and all the cool things you can check out. I mean, right by here, Pop Tunes, but Sun Record, Graceland, but Lauderdale Courts is also high on that list. I mean, like I said, this is the first place they lived in when they left Tupelo for a better life. Elvis's whole life changed when he moved to Memphis, and other than Graceland, this is the place he lived the longest in Memphis. Wow, pretty interesting. Rooms are pretty good size. Looked like that was a connection right there. That curtain connects right into the other bedroom, which was Elvis's room. Right over here. Actually, I forgot to look out their window. Let's take a look out their window. See what they would have seen. Oh, pretty close to where we just walked in. Makes sense. Then as we walk out of Vernon and Gladys' bedroom past Elvis's, we're back out in the living room. And the front door. Now right outside that window that he would have looked out in the kitchen is that sign memorializing his home here. I think we have seen everything we can see here in Elvis's childhood apartment. Now I want to go over and show you where Pop Tunes was and probably call it a day. And then out of Elvis's apartment, that's where we walked out and down those stairs to match up that photo. That's how close it was. You can actually see it right over there. And big thank you to Uptown Square for letting me do this. They really didn't have to, especially with what's going on in the world, and they still made it happen anyway. And I will do my best to come back and stay here in the future when we're able to. Gotta try it out. Gotta see if there's any ghosts, right? I know somebody's asking that right now. They're sitting there saying, did you feel any ghosts? I didn't, but I was only in there for a little while, so there you go. Alright, how about that? A full tour of the place, and I got to ride on a golf cart through the complex to kind of see what Elvis would have, you know, where kids would have played back then. That's the way it is when you live in an apartment complex. You play in and within it, so I got to show you just a little bit of it. So we're actually only driving like 2 blocks, literally, to get there. It was that close to him. Well, here we are. The former location where Elvis used to buy his records. Actually, it was one of the first places to ever stock and sell Elvis records. Poplar Tunes, closed down a few years ago. On one side it says, calling itself Memphis Original Record Shop, Poplar Tunes lived up to its billing. Founders Joe Cohey and John Novarese opened the store in 1946, selling records for the retail, wholesale, and jukebox trade. Demo records lined the shelves with turntables at the end of each row, allowing customers to hear records before deciding to buy. A young Elvis Presley who lived nearby bought his first record here. As his career began to take off, Elvis frequented the record shop, hiding in a corner to hear how customers were reacting to his latest release. Another drop-in was Sam Phillips of Sun Record, who introduced Cohey to new talent such as Jerry Lee Lewis. The store's success led to the founding of High Records, headquartered next door. High's most famous artists were Bill Black Combo, Willie Mitchell, and Al Green. And now, what was once a little souvenir diner, Poplar Tunes, and it was a record shop and memorabilia and all that. It's closed, and High would have been over here. So the other side of the sign says, before the days of the top 40 charts, Poplar Tunes, circulating its own chart, became a barometer and major influence of popular music tastes. Boosting the store's reputation was disc jockey Dewey Phillips with his freewheeling rapid-fire banter. Daddy-O Dewey urged his listeners to get yourself a load of goober dust, take it down to Joe Coffey at Poplar Tunes, and tell him Phillips sent ya. During off hours, Phillips and local artists would visit the shop, spin new releases, and rate them. He compared his picks and exchanged industry gossip with Coffey, who was regarded as the city's foremost music insider and often a make-or-break critic of new releases. Young artists felt that they had arrived at Coffey, invited them to hold an autograph signing at Poplar Tunes. Phillips died at age 46. In 1968, Coffey died 2 years later at the age of 48, leaving Nova Reese to run the shop. It closed in 2009. In through the window, you can see just a little bit. All right, my friends, we're gonna call it a day. I wanna thank Brendan Nolan for becoming my newest Patreon. Thank you all for watching. And from Memphis, Tennessee, we'll see you all next time. Have a great night and goodbye.